Hi, I'm Bill Attardi, and this is Learners Live. We post something you may not know every month on Learners Live on the e-learning showcase section of Learners Live. And we also post it on YouTube. And let me show you what we have already on YouTube posted. I hope you check this out. Maybe you learned something. These are the sessions that we have posted for this year. And again, all part of the learning process. This particular month, we're going to do the value exchange. The value exchange. It's very simple. You provide what I need and I send you money. That's the value exchange. And the important thing to remember with all of this is that it's customer-centric. It's the customer-centric value exchange. And it doesn't really matter whether you provide products or goods or services or ideas or experiences or events. Whatever you're providing the buyer, that's your responsibility to make sure that that particular offering has value to the customer. It's a customer-centric value exchange. And the focus is always on the customer. I think we've said that over and over again, and we teach that in marketing, that the customer is the focus. And it's really your responsibility as the seller to facilitate the exchange. Transfer products and services and ideas and any of the offering, and for that, you get paid for it. So your responsibility is to create, communicate, and deliver value. Deliver value. It's the value-added proposition. And I don't know how long ago it's been since you took a sales course, a sales training course, but I used to teach features, functions, advantages, and benefits. And I'll get into that a little bit later, just to give you a sense as to what the responsibility is of the supplier, the seller to the customer. It's to promote brand loyalty so you get repeat business, satisfy the customer, and make a profit. You know, I've been at this for a few years, and I asked my class, the first class, give me the definition of marketing. What do you think marketing is? And I go off the rails a little bit and say that marketing are all business activities that directs the flow of goods, services, and ideas from the manufacturer to the consumer in order to satisfy two specific objectives. Did you get all that? Anyway, let me put it up again. Yeah, I'm bragging a little bit, okay? But after being in marketing all my life, I think I should know what the definition is. And this is what it is. And it's to satisfy two specific objectives, satisfy the needs of the customer and make a profit for the company. Those two things have to happen. They have to happen in every transfer of goods. The customer is focused. Again, customer-centric focus. And what she says is very important to understand. I am profit and you are overhead. Remember that. She is profit and you are overhead. The only money coming into a company is when she sends a check or sends a credit card. One of the things we need to do right off the bat is to convert the 4 P's to the 4 C's. You know, the world is changing. Times are changing. Everything is more complicated today than it was, okay? When I was in school 100 years ago, we talked about product, price, promotion, and place. Well, it's no longer the 4 P's. Product is really the customer solution, whatever satisfies the customer, whatever solves the problem, the pain point, whatever that particular customer needs, that's the product. The price is still the cost of what the consumer is willing to pay. Promotion is no longer just a display in the store. It's whatever you communicate to the customer. Communications is more diverse and more complicated than ever before, and that's a very important part of your connection to the customer. And if anything has changed the most, it's the place. You don't just shop in a store anymore. You can shop at 2 o'clock in the morning in your pajamas, right? Online. It's called convenience, no longer place. It's convenient. Whatever is convenient to the customer, that's the place. It's really the what, where, why, and how of the marketing mix. The what is the customer solution. Where is wherever the customer wants to buy. The why is what you communicate. What value do you communicate to the customer so she will buy? And how is the cost to satisfy? Bottom line, your responsibility as the seller is to facilitate the transfer. And Warren Buffett says it very clearly. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. So let's talk about the decision-making process. How do people, how do individuals, how do customers, how do you go about buying anything? It's a process. And I have down 5 steps. This is what we teach at school, okay? Number 1 is you've got to recognize that there's a need, there's a pain point, there's a problem. This lady is shopping. She may be looking for cereal one day, okay? All of a sudden she wakes up in the morning and there's no cereal. That's a problem, okay? So the next thing she does is she goes to the grocery store. Information search. Information search. She gets her cart. She looks for the cereal aisle, and she throws in candy and donuts and milk and everything else before she gets to the. That's the way they make you buy in a grocery store, by the way. And then she evaluates, once she's in the cereal aisle, she evaluates what cereal she wants to buy. She makes the purchase, and then she takes it home. And then she decides the next morning whether or not it's the cereal that she likes, or she evaluates the cereal. And she always makes one of 2 decisions. It's either completely satisfied with the cereal that she picked, or a thing called cognitive dissonance, buyer's remorse, cereal that she'll never buy again, or cereal that she's not very happy with, okay? That's just the way it works. And that's the buying decision process. I think it's important in this particular session is to not only define what the B2C buying decision is, which is on the left side of this slide, but also what the B2B process is. What's the value exchange when you're selling to another business? It starts off the same with the problem recognition. A business has a problem, has a pain point, has a need that they have for a particular product. But in business, it could establish specifications. And that specifications could be very simple or it could be very elaborate, very detailed. And most companies put together those kinds of specifications to make it clear to the vendor exactly what they're looking to buy. The first thing is to identify which vendors you want to send those specifications to. And then you decide, and then the vendor you evaluate the vendor and decide which vendors you want to communicate with, which vendors you want to select, which vendors you want to connect with. And then you bring the one that you want to do business with in for a negotiation. And in most cases, business negotiate the price, negotiate what the terms are in order for you to do business. And in both cases, whether it's a B2C or B2B, the post-purchase evaluation, either you're totally satisfied or partially satisfied, or you're completely dissatisfied, and that's called buyer's remorse, okay? Important to understand, this is what takes place throughout the value exchange process. I have a warning. What's your worst customer? You may say that your worst customer is the one that doesn't pay you. Well, that's your determination as to what the worst customer is. But what is the worst customer to you? I believe it's the silent, dissatisfied customer. The silent, dissatisfied customer. That's a customer that's never going to do business with you, but doesn't tell you why. On a personal note, I'm not going to do business with Budget Rent-A-Car. And I'm going to give you a quick example of why. After a 6-hour flight from New Jersey to California, I had to wait 3 hours in line to get a rented car out from Budget. 3 hours. Can you believe it? Anyway, and then when I finally got to the Budget, they didn't have the car that I ordered, and I prepaid for it. Well, that experience has made me a silent, dissatisfied customer. I'm not going to do business with Budget anymore. You may have some examples of that the same way. A dissatisfied customer is a customer that won't do business with you. Not that you won't do business with them, but that they won't do business with you. I like to cover this hierarchy of effects model. This is what we teach in a marketing class to marketing people, to say that every purchase has these 3 factors. A customer acts on intelligence, on emotion, that drives the purchase. And for strategies, the intelligence side is the cognitive strategies. You have to connect in an intelligent way to that customer. You also need to connect on an emotional basis. That's the effective strategies. And when you do that, then the cognitive strategies take place, whereby you drive that particular customer to make the purchase of the product or the service that you're trying to sell. A couple of examples of all of that. You're familiar with Bose and Beats, correct? What do they sell? Well, they sell speakers, earplugs, earphones, headphones, speaker bars, radios, right? But what do customers buy? Think about that. What's the value that those 2 companies bring to a customer? It's sound, it's quality sound, it's music. That's the benefit to the customer. He buys the result. The customer-centric value exchange to the customer is sound, is music. Think of a service that you go every time you go to a doctor. You go to a doctor because he's an expert in what he does. And he can give you an examination, he can prescribe pills, he can give you an MRI, he can give you a complete checkup. That's what doctors sell. But what do you buy? You buy your health. You want to live forever, right? So your health is what you buy. That's the result. By going to the doctor, he helps you with your health. We're in the lighting business, or most of us listening, I think, are in the lighting business. Most of my subscribers are in the lighting business, whether they're manufacturers or distributors or contractors. And we all sell light bulbs and fixtures and controls and dimmers and whatever. But customers buy light, quality light. That's the result. The result is the light. Focus on that, folks. The value you bring when you sell light is the effect that has on what the customer is trying to light. 3 things is the reason why customers buy. The first and foremost is right there, right in the bullseye, right in the center, the core customer value, the value of whatever the offering is. The second is the actual offering itself, the brand, the quality, the feature of the product, the design, the packaging. And third is the augmented offering, things like the warranty, the service, the post-service, the product support, the delivery, the credit terms. Those are all the things that customers buy. As I said earlier, they are the features, functions, advantages, and most importantly, they are the benefits to the customer, the value to the customer. And what value do you provide? This is where I'm putting you on the spot and saying, if you don't know what value you provide, don't expect your customers to know what they are. Let me give you an example. And I'm saying that value is so important that you need to check it out every 5 years. And it's not just to satisfy a need. The needs change all the time. The value to your customer must be reviewed and if necessary, changed every 5 years, 5 to 10 years. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Amazon. You're all familiar with Amazon, right? What Amazon values will not change in the next 5 years? I'll give you a minute to think. You're all I think most of you are customers of Amazon, right? What Amazon values will not change in the next 5 years? If you had to ask a customer what values they get out of Amazon, what will they tell you? This is what I think they'll tell you. Massive selection, more than any other outlet in the world. They say they have almost 100 million products that they actually have in inventory, and 3 times that they have access to. Massive selection. Speedy, free delivery. People will tell you they get stuff the same day or the next day. Never happened before. And they get low prices. You can shop Walmart, Target, Costco, any of the low price value suppliers, and Amazon also offers low prices. I think you agree. I think if you ask any customer, any prime Amazon customer, they will indicate this is the value that Amazon brings to them when they make a purchase. So this is what I'm asking. What values will not change for you in the next 5 years? If that's not going to change for Amazon, you have value to your customer. What are they? That's the why. That's the why in the buying process. And if you don't know why, then certainly your customers don't know why. Are there any questions? Before I close, are there any questions? Let me close by saying the marketing landscape is changing. It's a major change in the marketing side of your business. It's an interconnected world, rapid globalization. I think we're getting a feel of that with all the tariff information that's going on. It's a digital age, online, mobile, social media. This is real-time marketing and interaction and engagement with the customer. Never been this connected to your customer ever before. Big data and artificial intelligence has given you a deep understanding of your customer, deep customer insights of why they buy and why they buy from you. Develop a sustainable competitive advantage. It's not just a clear advantage. It's an advantage that your competitors cannot easily duplicate. That's a sustainable competitive advantage. And that leads to brand loyalty and even to brand advocacy. When you think of all the brands that are available to everybody, whether it's a business or whether you're a user or customer, these are particular brands that people will sell, not just the company, but that's called brand advocacy. When you ask a person about a particular brand and they give you their customer satisfaction with that brand, that's called brand advocacy. With all of my sessions, I always go to AI. And in this particular case, I went to AI. I prompted 3 of them. I prompted Chat, GPT, Grok, and Gemini. And I prompted them by saying, what are the core marketing lessons that we should consider in the value exchange? And let me go through them one at a time. Here's what AI says. The offering aligns with their specific desires and solves their pain point. Number 1. And that's what we've been saying from the beginning. Value is defined by the customer, not by the company. Customers don't buy what you sell. They buy what it does for them. Bose sells speakers, but you buy music. Perceived value is always greater than the price in the minds of the consumer. Customers measure whether what they gain is greater than what they give up. And they give up not just money, it's also an effort to buy it, the time, the risk, all those things. Benefits have to overcome the features. Benefits overcome the features. Exchange is emotional as well as intellectual and rational. People justify with logic, but decide on emotion. So there's tangible and intangible value. Make sure you understand that clearly. Trust is also part of the exchange. Customers exchange not just money, but trust. And if trust is broken, the value exchange collapses. Different segments value different things. It's an ongoing process. That's why I say every 5 years, make sure you understand clearly what value you provide the customer. And if it needs to be changed, then change it. The exchange is dynamic, not static. What customers value shifts over time. Experience and relationships often outweigh any offering. That's the why. You have to communicate the why on an ongoing basis. Any way you can communicate, and there's lots of ways to do that today, you need to communicate why customers buy your stuff. Win-win exchange builds loyalty. When it's a win-win, you get repeat customers and you get customers that have a 5-star rating of what you do, and that's brand advocacy. They will sell what you provide to other customers because of the value they receive. And finally, let me just quote this last statement from artificial intelligence. Sustainable marketing happens when both the customer and company feel they got more than they gave. Thanks for listening, and good luck, and talk to you next month.